Hey guys, today we'll be solving lead code number 168, Excel sheet column title. It is an easy question, but I would say it is definitely a medium if you've not learned about divisibility theory or you're not familiar with using modulo operators. Okay, so I'll just start off with the modulo operators. What do I mean when I say modulo operators? So modulo means get the remainder, okay? So if we had 2 divided by 3, we would write it out as 3 by 2, right? And we would do 1 over here, right? We would say 2, bring down 1, then we would do a point, right? This would bring down 0, and then we would do 0.5, right? And then this would come down here, we will get this. Now 1.5, right? If we wrote this equation out, so how do we write this out? We would do 3 equals to 2 times 3 by 2, which is 1.5, plus 0, right? When you cancel this out, this is like saying 3 by 3, right? But when we write it out fully, so you do 2 times 3 by 2 plus 0. Now we have remainder here, right? So we say this is the remainder, this is the quotient. If I remember correctly, this is what we call the quotient, or like the thing that you get as your number, as the one that you were dividing with, and that's what you want. But we call it quotient, we call it remainder. What I want to focus on here is the remainder. Now one thing you'll notice, right, when you do remainder, so if we consider modulo 2, okay, you will always get your result within 0 or 1. Now what do I mean by that? So when you specify like a number after the modulo, when you end up dividing with it, you will always get 0 or 1. We call it bounded to that. So in formal definition, it would kind of be like r is greater than or equal to 0 less than the divisor. That's what we say it is, right? And this is the d. So let's say you have 13, I'll consider 12, I'll consider 13, I'll consider 14. We write it out like we did here, okay? So 12 equals to 2 times 6 plus 0. 13 equals to 2 times 6 plus 1. 14 equals to 2 times 7 plus 0. So you see, we have gone through it over here, but our remainder was bounded by 0 or 1, right? It doesn't exceed 2, it doesn't exceed this divisor. So this is where the formal definition comes into play. Now in this question, why would this help? Well, we know that alphabet, the letters, right, they go through A to Z. We consider them to be 26, right? In this question, they're mapped out. So A corresponds to 1, Z corresponds to 26, and when we want to hit 27, then we would do this, and then we would do 27 as AA, right? So this would be the full 26 plus 1, essentially. That's how we will go about this question. So how do we first determine how we can do this question? So like I said, the modulo would allow us to be bounded by 0 to 25, right? That's from the same definition, 0 to 25. That's what we would get, and we would do the modulo. Now how do we actually figure out the answer? So what you want to do is repeatedly divide it by 26. You want to flatten out the number, and to extract the alphabet, you will use the modulo. Now the issue with explaining this question is that it's really dependent on the person's knowledge of how much lead code they've done, or questions that use circular arrays or stuff like that. So the modulo will allow us to extract the digit. I think you should just remember this, the fact that the modulo will allow us to extract the digit, and you want to do some repeated division on this number to get it, just to like extract the digits essentially. So I'll write out a example. I think it would be much easier if I just did that. So res equals to some empty list, right? I'll get back to every detail of the code in a bit, but first I'll write out the answer. You can have it be till 0, or you can have it greater than 0. Either one's fine. Column number minus equals to 1, by the way. This is the trick, because we're looking at it from 1 to 26. We will offset it 0 to 25. I'll show you what I mean. Just wait. The character itself, like I said, we will extract it by taking the modulo, and at the end we will add to our result chrord a plus char. And we will do this repeated floor division on it. Okay, before I explain the result, I'll actually show you what this code is actually doing. So we'll consider 28 given by LeetCode themselves. The first thing that we can do. So we'll have our result. It will be some empty string right now. And like I said, what we want to do is extract the digit, right? So we will first convert it to 27. And then we can write it out. So 26 times 1 plus 1, that's 27, right? We get our remainder to be 1. So that's the character we got, okay? That's what you can consider it to be. In this case, it would kind of be like saying B. Now you'll get what I mean when we do this. So you have your A, then you take 1 ahead of it. That comes out to be B, right? That's just simple maths. And after that, 27 divided by 26, that gives us 1, right? So after that, we will come back here, we will subtract it to 0, and we will do 0 equals to 26 times 0 plus 0. You get 0, and that would be like writing out A plus 0. We will get A. Then we've already had 0 by 0, so 0 by 26, sorry. So 0. That's pretty much it. So what we've done, we've written B into the res, we've written A into the res, and the reverse of that is literally the answer. So what we've done is we've extracted from the very end. That's why we would end up having to do a reversed at the end. And that's pretty much it for this question.